All right, here they are, the full cartoon collection from the Masters of the Universe line from Mattel that have been released to date, except for that Too Bad from the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Everybody knows the nostalgia of this cartoon, and it's great to finally have figures that are not only the colors of that Filmation cartoon, but actually represent the character sculpts as they appeared in that show. Today, we are going to open up every one of these, talk about them, and I am just so thrilled to finally get a chance to tear these open. So let's just get right into it. First up, we're going to take a look at one of the figures that was considered a peg warmer, one that people would walk away from, but has recently skyrocketed in value simply because Mattel has discontinued this figure. That's right, retailers can no longer get it, and as a result, the aftermarket value of this figure is just exploding. And while lots of people love to collect toys as an investment, as you guys all know, on this channel, we like to open up our toys. So today, we are going to take a look at this package, and then we're going to tear it open. So here we have, of course, Man-at-Arms with that mustache. How important is that mustache for that collection? Absolutely important. As we come around, we get to look at the back. And of course, we have that iconic artwork. We have the cross cell back here with action poses of Man-at-Arms holding his equipment. Very cool. And as you all know, every Masters of the Universe figure comes with that comic book. The nice thing about this collection is not only do they come with the comics, but they each come with an exclusive accessory that pays homage to one of the amazing episodes in this iconic cartoons from our childhood. So, let's get this guy open, shall we? All right, here is our comic, The Wizard's Vizard. And you know, if you want to read this, feel free to pause and take a look. There's not that many pages. Just love the artwork and everything on these. Love what Mattel has been doing since the 80s. Of course, originally out of the gate, they used the comics to tell the story of Masters of the Universe, and the cartoon came not long after. But that's why you have some of a discrepancy between those classic figures and the cartoon itself, because they were created based on the comics versus the cartoon. And straight out of the gate, here is our Man-at-Arms figure. This is a great one. You can see that armor. And the armor is, of course, molded separately from the figure. There is the back of the figure and the other side. We've got this swivel head, and of course, with all of these Masters of the Universe figures, you can take all the individual pieces off and mix and match if you wanted to. All of their gear comes off. In this case, the boot is molded onto the leg, but again, you could pop the legs off and swap them around. We've got the, kind of ball joint on the elbow, our shoulder, which allows the rotation, the wing. We have those kind of barbell joint on the arms, which ratchets, the swivel of the hands. They have a little bit of a, hinge on them as well, so you can move them in and out. We've got finally knee joints, right? Those old classic MOTU figures were missing the knee joints, and they were always posed. Of course, they had the rubber bands. You can see we can pull them apart at the waist, put them back together. These are just a great line that looks like the original, but has that added ability to pose them, to actually play with them more. And of course, without the rubber band, these won't be falling apart. So Man-at-Arms, of course, comes with his, I don't know what you call it, a mallet. So he can go around and bash Skeletor's minions upside the head. We are also getting this excellent cannon. And I'm not quite sure what episode that cannon came from, but it is great to have it, right? So that is Man-at-Arms. So let's take a look at our next figure. Let's open Beast-Man. Here again is that Beast-Man packaging. So we flip it around there. You got that iconic artwork of Beast-Man with a laser cannon, or some kind of gravity weapon stealing the dragon's eggs. This, of course, is from As Seen in the Dragon Invasion, so that's where we're getting our hover ray. And again, the cross cell. And there he is in that iconic orange with the red armor. So let's do what we do. Let's get this one open. All right, here is our comic Mask of the Magi. And there you go. Get it out here a little further for you. And more cross-cell on the back. Naturally, we now have to take a look at Beast-Man himself. Once again, we have all those same points of articulation that we've come to know and love from this Origins line. He's got all these armor pieces, again, that can be removed. Just look at that. Look at the sculpt on that face. Who doesn't remember that look from the cartoon? Just classic. And I, can't say enough about the Origins line, but specifically the cartoon collection giving us the figures we wanted as we saw them on the cartoons themselves. And see if I can get him to stand up without a little help. Come on. There you go, one-handed. Now as we talk about the accessories, right? Who doesn't remember? And the way they have this in the package, we have his, of course, whip, but it wants to curl up because of how it was in the package. Would have been nice if this was, rather than a string, he doesn't really want to hold it that well, right? Was, some sort of wire so we could pose him, make him look really cool. But hey, we got the whip nonetheless. We also have that hover ray, which Beast-Man used to steal those dragon eggs. So again, here is our episode exclusive accessory. And it's really cool. This is what really, aside from the colors of these sculpts, really separates the cartoon collection from the main line of Masters of the Universe Origins. Now, we're going to go and take a look at Trapjaw. All right, here is Trapjaw in the cartoon collection packaging with that iconic logo. As we flip it around to the back here, we can see the iconic artwork taken from the episode of Double-Edged Sword. We see the accessories, which is the Eternium Rock from that episode. We also see twists into powerful battle positions with that arm, which has the different pieces you can play around with. We have this cross sale from Wave 2 featuring Trapjaw, of course, Teela, Stratos, and Merman. Well, you seen one package. God, I love that Grayskull back art on there. You seen one package, you seen them all. So let's tear this thing open. All right, here is the comic from Trapjaw. It is Time's End. So again, feel free to pause if you want to read this, or skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled or have the story spoiled. Again, that was the comic from Time's End, and unfortunately, as you can see, mine shipped cut a little wrong, so cover not great. And right out of the gate, let's take a look at Trapjaw. And you can see he has that iconic jaw face, and it is hinged. Very cool. Look at that. So he can open and close his mouth. We have all those points of articulation, even with this extra arm. Like he can still move, it still swivels. Very cool. The belt on here is separate. I wonder if we... I don't know, really want to yank on that too hard. I was going to say, I wonder if we can take this little armor plate off, but I can feel it does move around. So you take that arm off, you can definitely remove that armor plate. And of course, we mentioned the accessories. Here is the Eternium gem, that exclusive episode figure. We have the hook attachment for his arm. So you can go ahead and plug that right in here. Well, theoretically. And so there you go. He's got his hook. Very cool. But not only that, we get this blaster. So we can remove the hook. We can put the blaster right there, right up front. And then we got this nice long blaster. But that's not exactly cartoon accurate, right? That makes his arm really long. So we can also pull this out and put that cannon right there, right up on that arm, as you can see. So now he's ready to blast away at He-Man and the heroes of the story. So very, very cool. Again, love to have these cartoon collection figures. Love how articulated they all are with all those different joints, the elbows, the posability, the huge amount of accessories. And it looks like we can clip this hook on him somewhere. Yeah, back here, right? We got a nice little spot to slide that hook on so he can carry all of his stuff with him. Let's see if he can hold that gem at all. There he goes. Awesome. Well, who should we open next? Maybe let's take a look at Stratos. All right, our next figure in Wave 2 of the Filmation cartoon collection is Stratos. Of course, you can see him there on that iconic Castle Grayskull card back. And as we flip around, you've got, again, this great dramatic painting from the episode Reign of the Monsters. Included in this is the Staff of Avalon as an accessory. And then, of course, we've got all that posability. We have those wings. We've got that backpack. Let's get this thing open and take a look at Masters of the Universe Stratos. Alrighty, our next comic is Perilous Power. There's Merman battling Stratos. And again, feel free to pause in order to take a look at that comic if you're interested in reading it. All that iconic art, just fantastic. Love to see this story continue to be fleshed out in these little comics like they do. And here is the man himself. See if we can get him a little pose there. Stratos. Originally conceived as a villain, Stratos quickly became a hero in the cartoon and represents obviously his species, his group. You have that iconic rocket pack, the helmet. Love that head and the wings. Just one of the classic figures that everybody knows, always routinely in the show. So one that you just have to have in any Masters of the Universe collection. Stratos. And of course, here is that staff from the episode. Really love how they do the accessories from those episodes to give us something new and unique, not just screen accurate representation of the figures, but accessories we've never had before. So there is Stratos, and we've got one final figure in Wave 2, and of course we are talking about Teela. So let's get her open and take a closer look. All right, again, the iconic Crastle Grayskull packaging. Teela, our heroic warrior. We have several accessories in here, as you can see. We got a sword, a shield that looks like a robot in there. As we flip around the back, of course, there's that training robot. We have the pawns of the Game Master. Beautiful artwork across the top. We have, again, the cross sale, Teela, Trapjaw, Stratos, and Merman. So I think I actually said the last figure in this wave, but second to last. Merman is next, of course. So let's get her open. And I noticed right away, it looks like the comic we have included is the same one that is included with Stratos, or not Stratos, with Trapjaw, sorry. And so let's get that one open. We'll spare you the time since we've already seen that story, and we will jump into the figure itself. Of course, there is Teela wearing that headset, wearing that breastplate armor. She's got sculpted with the bicep cuffs. We've got the boots with the straps. Just, again, a really great figure all around. Just what you would expect, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. And of course, we have our shield accessory. And there is the inside. Give you a glimpse of that before we, of course, get her nice and armed up. And as she, of course, does, as she prepares for training, if we can get her to stand here. Apparently not. Definitely, obviously, a smaller, less bulky figure, and so the weight distribution is a little more touchy, especially with those little feet joints. Come on. Just right there. All right. We also have her sword. So let's get her that sword. And honestly, the material on this sword is a little rubbery. So that's interesting. It's not as rigid as some of the other swords we've had in this line. And here we go. We're going to have this whole struggle with her standing again. There we go. All right. And then lastly, of course, we have our episode exclusive accessory. This training bot. Got his knife, I guess some sort of gun. The eye on there, as you can see. Would be nice if this came with some sort of, stand or something especially considering how small this figure is. Would have been nice if we could have had just something to help make that float and become a little more dynamic. But hey, what can you do? Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. So there is Teela from Wave 2. Again, let's take a look at the final figure next in this wave, which is Merman. Alrighty, there is Merman in that traditional Grayskull packaging. We got the Filmation cartoon inspired logo. Looks like we've got him, of course, with Perilous Power, and again, the same comic that came with Stratos. And as we flip this card back over, we've got a picture from this episode, City Beneath the Sea, where Merman is using that Pearl of Power to ensnare He-Man, Battle Cat, and Man-at-Arms. Again, the cross sale, this is the final figure in this wave. It does come with the Pearl of Power from the episode. And lastly, the trident that we know from Merman. So let's get Merman open and take a last look at Wave 2's final figure. Alrighty, here is Merman. I love the face from the cartoon collection. That kind of dumb look that you get with Skeletor's henchman is just classic. You know, of course, inspired, I guess, by the creature of the Black Lagoon. This figure is just comically fantastic for a villain. Love the bright yellow of his armor, that aqua blue skin. Again, all those points of articulation just really look great together. And we did mention this comes with the Pearl. So we have the Pearl of Power. And the great thing about this one is they've given you that hand in a way where he can hold that pearl. Merman with his Pearl of Power. And lastly, let's give him this classic Filmation trident to complete the look. And hopefully we can do it without that pearl falling out and running away where we cannot find it readily. Just great classic Filmation cartoon figures. I can't say enough how thrilled I am with this line of figures. I've definitely turned my attention from the regular Origins line from Mattel to these. I've stopped collecting the other ones, even though the other ones have a lot more figures we will never see get made. These Filmation cartoon ones, to me, are where it's at. You've got the right screen accurate detailing, colors, looks. Love the extra accessories, just a ton of fun. So there is Merman, final figure in Wave 2. Up next, let's take a look at Wave 3.